You are listening to the hippest radio station in the Tri-City area, WAWL 103.5. This is Walk the Beat, the radio program dedicated to bringing you the latest in original music from our very own West Michigan area. This program is supported by Chemical Bank, Shoreline Insurance Agency, and Mike Rose Landscaping. I'm Dave Palmer, your host of Walk the Beat, and today we are talking with Jack Lever. How you doing, Jack?
Good. Wonderful.
So, I'm so glad you could finally make it in here. You are one of the busiest musicians in the area.
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
That's good. That's good. And I'm so glad that you could take some time out for this, but you're basically playing every night almost, aren't you?
I am. I just, I'm kind of like one of those guys that I'm playing more now than I've ever played. I'm in the later stages of my life, and
now you got to stay up till 2 a.m.
And yeah, but I actually, my voice is better than it's ever been, and I'm more excited about doing what I do than I've ever been. I mean, I don't remember my 20s, basically.
It could have been a good time.
I think it was a good time, but I think I'm more creative now, and I'm doing more stuff and more worthwhile stuff now as far as recording and I play. I'm a working musician.
Yeah.
I mean, but for me, it's like I like to just go out and sing. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I feel blessed every night that I can sing and play guitar.
Great. Well, you know what? You're blessed all over the place because I see you playing everywhere, especially around this area. But you're up north, you're over west. It doesn't matter. You're everywhere.
Well, when I figure, it's like have guitars will travel.
Yeah. Now, you've been in several projects.
Yes, and continue to be.
Yeah. Tell us some of the bands and some of the history of your playing and how you got to this point and how you're able to be creative now, more creative than before.
Well, I think when I was in bands in high school, obviously, and then when I got out of school, I went to college, and then I played in a band called the Skyscrapers that had a pretty big regional following. Played a lot of college bars. We were mostly a cover band, but then we were writing. I mean, we started to kind of dabble in the writing and recording, and we recorded amassed quite a collection of stuff that we never actually really released commercially. Mm-hmm. We did like cassette only releases.
Right, I remember cassettes. That's right.
And there's several of those that have surfaced over the years, and they're fun. And I mean, I'm proud of all of them because they were some of the songs. Obviously, we're early 20s kind of guys, writing, trying to
building blocks.
But we, even back then we were networking. We were always, we had a guy, we had people that heard the songs. I remember one of the guys from the Babies used to come and hear us all the time in Traverse City.
The Babies, pretty good band, yeah. For
it was a guitar player from the Babies. I can't think of his name right now, but his name was Walter, I think. But he had a place in Traverse City, and he would come. We were based out of Traverse City, and this would have been the early to mid '80s, and then after that, we started to get more serious about the songwriting, and that band kind of morphed into a band called the Duchesnes. It did basically the mission of that band was to do country music. And that was at a time when it was right when like Dwight Yoakam and Steve Earle and those guys, it was kind of like the new traditionalists, they called it.
Right, right.
It's like around 87.
Yeah, they were kind of catching on then. That's kind of twisting a little bit from the old country to this newer.
Yeah, but it was still like rooted in the old country, which is what we wanted to do because all the members in the band had very deep connection to country music. Traditional, when I say traditional, I would say like, George Jones, Merle Haggard, Hank Williams. And I guess when, thinking back on it now, when we met other people, like we'd open for other bands, in Detroit area and stuff, that would be I mean, there wasn't a big scene for it then, but they were a lot of the guys that had listened to the same stuff.
Right.
But we'd also listen to Neil Young.
Oh, yeah.
We'd listen to, country rock acts like Graham Parsons, Flying Burrito Brothers. So we were into all that too. So that was all in the music too.
Right.
And we were just trying to kind of do that. I mean, we'd all grown up on the Eagles, the early Eagles, and that kind of stuff, as well as like all the pop influences. So it was just kind of like trying to do all that stuff. So the Duchesnes, that's when we really got serious about the songwriting and decided to really focus on original music. And we did another cassette-only release in 1990. But at the same time, I was in a band called the Bluefields.
Just can't stay in one seat.
No, and basically, so still writing pop stuff too that didn't always fit into like the Duchesnes thing.
Right,
so,
their criteria.
Yeah, so we were trying to, there was just a big group of us, which included like the Holy Cows, a band from, the Ann Arbor area that did actually they had a pretty good indie deal.
Oh,
and
nice.
they actually did make some forays into college radio. And so we all kind of supported each other. And
that's kind of the way it rolled back then.
and it's actually kind of funny because I look back on it now, like there was a band called Goober and the Peas. I mean, that
I gotta get that. We should start writing down all these band names.
Well, Goober and the Peas, I mean, I didn't, unbeknownst to me at the time, but I mean, I actually, Jack White was in that band at one time when he was about
nice.
17 and was probably in the band because we did a lot of shows with them. So I imagine he was probably in the band at one time when we were playing with him.
Wow.
So it's
he's
like
done his deal.
Yeah. So, he was like the drummer in that band. So.
Oh, really? Because he's a fantastic guitarist.
Yeah. And so so basically that we recorded some stuff quite a lot with the Duchesnes, and that's where we actually made a serious stab at like Nashville and trying to do all the thing. But the main thing was we were really kind of ahead of the whole alt country thing that hadn't happened yet.
Right.
And I was living in Chicago at the time. We were playing Chicago, but there weren't a lot of clubs. And we actually broke up in around, I guess, about 94, 95. And at that point, if we'd have waited another year, I mean, it kind of exploded.
Yeah, you were just kind of ahead of the ball a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, just
my life, just missed it.
But a couple of the guys went on to be in Dutch Henry.
And, right. Well, let's talk about that in a minute because I want to get at least one of these songs played for you.
Okay. Well, good.
What this Isn't She the One? That's the one that we're going to be playing next. What is that about?
Well, was
that part of these bands?
Well, actually, what happened was right when the Duchesnes broke up. In the mid '90s, Todd Truman, who played drums with us, he and I are best friends from way back. We didn't know what we were going to do, so we actually we connected with a guy named Dave Stanton and Mike Campbell, not the Mike Campbell from Tom Petty, but Mike Campbell from Ann Arbor. And Dave Stanton's actually in the Concussions, and I still work with him quite a lot. And we decided to form a band. We had all this music and go in a more pop direction. And we recorded this album called Flatlands, and you're going to hear a cut off that. And we actually were on some of the WGRD radio comps.
Oh, nice.
And so I got, I met so many people then that, because I hadn't really been around the Grand Rapids scene, so I didn't know Troll for Trout or or Molly, who Todd Long, who's Star Darts, So we did shows with all these guys, and anyway, we were on several of those compilations, cuts from this album. It took us about 6 years to make this album.
And this particular song is on there. Isn't She the One?
Yeah, Isn't She the One? Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get to this, Blue. Isn't She the One? Now, what's the name of the band that performed this?
Mosey.
With Jack Levers in it.
Yep.
Rock on.
Isn't she the one who was gonna blow the clouds away and make it sunny? Isn't she the one who was gonna float your boat to the land of milk and honey? But things don't happen like that. soulmate from a cellmate. Remember when I told you you could never mold her into what you want her to be? Look at who changed the plan. Someone didn't understand. You said that you were the man. Guess you didn't tell her. Isn't she the one? Isn't she the one who? Isn't she the one you were gonna build your world around? Work your fingers to the bone. What is left when you come home? Wasn't there something wrong that you failed to see? Isn't she the one? Isn't she the one who? Isn't she the one you were gonna build your world around? Isn't she the one? Isn't she the one? Yes, I think she's the one. Isn't she the one? Yes, I think she's the one. Isn't she the one? I can swear she's the one. Isn't she the one? I can swear she's the one. Isn't she the one? Yes, I think she's the one. Isn't she the one? Yes, I think she's the one.
You are listening to Walk the Beat on WAWL 103.5. We are back at Greenhouse Studios with Jack Lever. Jack, I can definitely hear the pop part of that, but also I can also hear the Tom Petty cover band that you were in come out. I
Yeah.
mean, your vocals. So tell us a little bit about the Tom Petty cover band, because I bet it is probably dead on.
Well, that's American Heartbreakers. That was a thing, a concept that started a few years ago, probably 3 years ago, when I just wanted to do something. It started off as a one-off. We were just going to play once at a festival, and I just playing with all my favorite guys that had played. We'd always done Tom Petty covers.
Sure.
So we just wanted to do like not necessarily the hits, but we wanted to like concentrate on the early stuff that we all really loved and album cuts and that kind of thing. And it sort of morphed into this kind of thing where people liked it and they wanted to hear us play more. So right now we do festivals and things in the summer. We do some private parties and things. We don't really play bars. We don't play a lot, and it's a very special thing.
Sure.
And I guess our goal is that we would be able to do an album front to back. Say we wanted to do a party or a benefit or something, and say, let's do Damn the Torpedoes from front to finish, you know,
Right.
and be able to and be able to actually do that. And and we don't dress up, we don't do anything like that. It's
No
just
costume changes.
no, and we play like a band. It's very spontaneous. I told the guys, you don't have to worry about every part. It's like, let's make it fun and let's be like a band, because that's what they are.
Sure.
They're a band. They watch, when they're playing, they watch Tom, and he basically directs them through, and that they play like a band.
Yeah, you just roll.
Like they stretch stuff out. They don't necessarily play it like the album.
Sure.
So that's that was the whole idea of that, and it's been a lot of fun, and we've had a good time with it.
So, that's fantastic. But you guys didn't put out any. You guys haven't recorded any of that stuff.
No, we won't.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's Tom Petty stuff.
Tom Petty stuff, yeah.
But I do get, like you was asking before. I mean, I get a lot of the Tom Petty comparisons I always have.
Yeah.
And I think when I was younger, you know, I had the long blonde hair, and I played the Strat and everything. And I think even before I really knew who Tom Petty was, I was getting the comparisons. So
Wow, that's pretty cool.
but I think
really cool.
I think it's because I listen to the same people. You know, I listen to Creedence, I listen to the Stones,
yeah.
I listen to British Invasion, the Beatles. You know, so
the same trip I took.
I think that's what it is. I think it's just, you know, we all listen to the same people and are, you know, I have a reedy, high tenor kind
I
of
like
voice.
it. Yeah,
you know?
it's nice. So,
and that's what I'm stuck with. So, you know,
hey, you're using it to its fullest. I think you're doing a fantastic
Thank
job
you.
of it. And you know, a lot of people. The last Tom Petty concert I went to, people know the words to every single
That's the
song.
fun part.
They will be they're singing that song as you're walking to your car. Mm-hmm. The whole place. I loved it.
they're great songs. I mean,
they're good. They stick with you, and they're just fun. Now, this next one, Kiss Away.
That was on the same Mosey album. We only did one album, unfortunately. We never, and that was talking about like doing some new stuff that we want to actually record again. Just like the Duchesnes, we're going to do some more recording.
Good.
And we're kind of at that point in our lives where we're kind of looking back and we're going, okay, we could go back and remaster that album. We could won't change it, but we'll make it better.
Sure.
Same with the Duchesne stuff, where we'll add new tracks because
Yep.
we never got to do the second album. You know, we all had schedules and we just kind of never did it.
And you're all more seasoned players.
Yes.
The whole works. Hey, before I forget, how do people find you, man? I mean, to hire you for weddings or gigs, whatever. How do they find you?
It's jacklever.com, you know, and it's Lever is Leaver.
Yep. I seen your website today. Nice one.
Yeah, and I have the AmericanHeartbreakers.com as well, and I do have the Duchesnes. That's right now we don't have that up, but we have that domain name, and when we release what we're going to release, we're gonna actually get that up and going
get
again.
that launched off again. Get going.
Yep. So.
Well, all right. This next one is called "Kiss Away" by Mosey.
Yep. Another Mosey, another one I sang. I co-wrote this one with
Nice.
Dave Stanton.
Excellent.
And this one showed a little different side of it. It's a little bit more rootsy, a little bit more, actually, we kind of laugh about it. We had a piano player from Blues Traveler played piano
really?
on this.
Excellent. How sweet is that?
Yeah,
you've bumped into a lot of famous people.
Yeah. And we recorded it in Ferndale, so it's like it was recorded in Detroit.
Blue, let's do "Kiss Away" by Mosey.
There's no way I'll let you go. Oh no, without saying how I feel, 'cause you're the reason for the season. Too many times I walked away, but I swear not today, 'cause it's been too long. day. It's been too long now at this game. It's been too long now. Heaven's just a kiss away. Heaven's just a kiss away. Heaven's just a kiss away. Let it happen, come what may. If it happens, then you say heaven was one lovely kiss away.
You are listening to Walk the Beat on WAWL 103.5. We are back at the Greenhouse Studio. We are talking with Jack Lever and listening to some of his fantastic music. So glad you made it tonight, Jack.
Thank you, Dave.
Hey. So we've told people how to get a hold of you at jacklever.com.
Yes.
Correct. Now, you've been in so many projects. What's the latest? What's going on now in your life?
Well, actually right now the Duchesnes, who I'd mentioned earlier, we are looking at we recorded a lot of material and we want to remaster it, but we want to add new cuts. So, and we've been writing. It's the band is myself, Mitch Wood, Greg Miller, Todd Truman, and Mitch and Greg play with Dutch Henry. They're in that band. And they've got, they're working on new stuff too. So it's like, we kind of juggle it, but that's what we're doing. We're trying to, it's really fun to play together again after all the years of not playing.
Sure.
Because there was a long time where we didn't play, and now we do shows here and there. Mitch Wood is a very prolific writer. He writes a lot of songs, and this next song, I wanted to do some recording originally, even before we thought about the Duchesne stuff. I wanted to do my own album. I wanted to do it for years. And I think that'll still happen, hopefully in 2015.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of songs. I did a lot of writing in Nashville. I wrote with Robert Reynolds of the Mavericks, bass player from the Mavericks.
You, man, you're a famous guy.
Did a lot of songs. And anyway, when I hear a song, it doesn't really matter if I wrote it. If I love it, I want to do it.
Sure.
And Mitch had this song called Brian Wilson's Sad, and I'm a huge Brian Wilson Beach Boys fan. And I added the last verse, and so we kind of had gotten together and sort of wrote this thing, and we haven't recorded it yet, but what you're going to hear is a very nice demo of it. And
Okay, something like you at least got the basics on this.
Yeah, we basically fleshed it out a little bit. It's we gave it a Beach Boys treatment, but which I don't. It can. Who knows what'll happen when we actually go to record it.
Yeah, right.
So you're kind of getting a sneak preview of something that I think.
Well, fantastic.
I think. I mean, Mitch is one of my favorite writers, and favorite people to work with, and I've written a lot of songs with him.
Well,
and
before we get to it, I do want to ask you, how much practice do you do?
I never touch my guitar.
Yeah, right. I mean, do you only work at work?
Well, and sadly that it almost is that way. And I think because I've gotten into that whole working musician thing, and I always do my own songs, but I don't make a big deal out of it when I play. I like to, if I get very conversational with an audience, and I basically call it the songs that Jack likes show,
Yeah.
And
nothing wrong with that.
No. And I don't do anything even from this century, I don't think, except maybe a Pink cover,
Oh, really? Yeah. A Pink cover.
Well, and
she's fantastic too, isn't she?
No, I mean, if I heard an Adele song I liked, I'd do it.
Yeah.
There are songs I like, but I mean, if I thought I could do it, I would do it. So it's really just, I just do what I feel like doing. That's the nice thing about being. That's the nice thing about playing solo.
Yeah,
it's very liberating. You can do what you want. I can throw my own songs in, and if people like them, they'll go, "Who's that?" And I go, "It's me." Or whatever. So,
but this particular one was written by.
It was written by Mitch Wood, and I take very partial writing credit in it. We didn't sit down eyeball.
So what's that, about 2.5%?
I don't know.
Is that your?
I don't know. We haven't written the contracts out yet, but but it's mostly Mitch. I added lyrics.
What's the name? Is it the Duchesnes that perform it?
No, it's actually Mitch and Dave Stanton from the Concussions and I, and it's basically just that's kind of like, I think if I do, when I do a solo thing, I would definitely have Mitch Wood produce and Dave Stanton produce, because they're two people that I trust their ears.
Yeah,
and then I would have all these other people play on it.
Sure.
But it would all be people that are overlap in all these bands,
right,
because they're all my favorite musicians.
Well, that's how everybody's connected through music.
Yeah.
It's one guy knew somebody. Anyhow, we better get to this, so we're not going to get it in this 30 minutes. Let's hear Brian Wilson's Sad.
The blinds are drawn, resting his head. He better write it down before it's gone. He's got it all in his mind. That's where it stays. It's too bad. Brian Wilson said. Tried to smile, put on a happy face. Said that's not me, it looks so out of place. Anyway, he'll be alright in a while. He'll be okay, it's too bad. So sad. I just like to think of him now that he's found just a little more of the love that he needed so bad. Locked in his room, he's got his headphones on. Song in his head spins like the world turns round. He's underground. He'll be alright for a while. It's not so bad. Brian Wilson said. Brian Wilson, Brian Wilson, Brian Wilson.
You are listening to Walk the Beat on WAWL 103.5. We've been talking with Jack Lever. We just got to hear a great song, Brian Wilson's Sad. Jack, this half hour is over. It didn't take much, did it?
It went too quickly.
I know it. We might have to extend this into an hour show eventually. But thank you for coming in. Remember, if you want to find Jack, it's jacklever.com. And this is Dave Palmer, your host, saying, remember to listen local.